It's that time of the week. Upset dogs. Is it week 8 or week 9 college football? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Week 8, week 9 for college football.
9.
Week 9 college football upsets of the week. We've done very, very well on this segment. I do have to pat ourselves on the back. We probably do better on this segment.
Other than just having a personal vendetta for Notre Dame.
Yeah,
that's not even using your brain.
That's
a heart bet.
Hey, Haynes King didn't play.
That's true.
That's not fair.
That's
one
true.
doesn't count. And listen,
that has an asterisk.
I trusted the Cardinals, but they were 28-point dogs. I mean,
that's crazy.
I didn't trust them to win, but I thought they'd cover. Regardless, we
never trust the nerds.
I got some good ones. And listen, we can start off with Notre Dame, right? Go back to the well 3 times, third time's a charm, right? I know Haynes King didn't play, so that we talked about that last week, and obviously they didn't have much of a chance without him in the game. But they play Navy this week, and they are 13-point favorites. This game is taking place at MetLife Stadium, so it's not a home game for either side. Listen, this is not even really about Notre Dame as much as it's about Navy. I mean, Navy is a damn good football team.
That quarterback's raw.
A team that it can run the football, can chew the clock, and they can pass a little bit. This isn't just like the triple option old days of Navy football. Like, this is a ranked team. And Notre Dame, I've said it time and time again, they're an overvalued football team, and they've gotten a little lucky because Haynes King was injured, and Stanford is just the worst team in college football. But let's not forget what Notre Dame really is. They're 3 most impressive
lost
looking.
To NIU.
Yeah, I mean, so the public's all on Navy. That makes you a little bit wary. Public's been on Navy every single week, and Navy goes out there and kicks the hell out of every single team that they play. Yeah. I'm not going to shy away now because I have an anti-Notre Dame vendetta. I do not think they're a good football team.
You shouldn't bet like this, folks.
You shouldn't.
This is not how you
bet. But
this
isn't a betting thing. This is Navy pulls off the upset straight up. If you're betting, take them on the money line. They are beating Notre Dame this week.
This is like Giants, New England, 08. New England's going in for the perfect season. Everybody and their mothers was rooting for Eli Manning, Michael Strahan, Tom Coughlin, and those Giants. Everyone, and obviously Notre Dame isn't like that. I'm just saying everybody outside of Illinois is rooting for Navy. Navy is America's sweetheart this week. They are the Vanderbilt when Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Everybody and their mothers wants Navy to win this game. Unfortunately, I do not see it happening. Navy has had a great season. And, you know, a lot of the time they win games, these service academies, because one, you know, you've got to prepare for a triple option after, you know, you play a spread 1 week, triple option, and then a spread, something like that. And it's very difficult to get up for. It's hard to sometimes motivate players. You know, you're playing Navy, you're playing Air Force. Navy is talked about. Navy is thought about. Navy is not the stereotypical service academy that, you know, is sleepy. Notre Dame's going to have to get up for this game. And if Marcus Freeman can't get the boys up for this game, I mean, Notre Dame's got more problems than just, you know, losing to NIU. Notre Dame has NFL guys. Navy does not. Navy's got a bunch of, you know, Liberty Mutual workers on that team. Quarterback's raw. Love that guy. He's awesome to watch. But this feels like just, it's going to have to be the muckiest of muck games for Navy to win this game, and I just don't see that happening. With that being said, Riley Leonard does piss his pants sometimes, so maybe he does.
Here's the great thing about this segment, guys. Like, you don't just come to this segment for 2-point underdogs that some other one be like, oh, this is my dog of the week. You know, I got 2 point,
1.5 point
I got
dog.
2-point underdog BYU against UCF. Like, oh, great. You picked the number 11 team against a team that's 3-4. No. I'm bringing you absolute super dogs to take on the money line in this one. Listen, I called Vandy against Alabama a few weeks ago. We're going back to the well. 25.5 points, Nebraska and Ohio State. Nebraska coming off an embarrassing loss, 56-7 at the hands of Indiana, who's a very, very good football team. Nebraska turns the ball over 5 times. It got out of hand. It was a very, very bad game for Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska's that bad. And I don't think this Ohio State offense is good enough to score a ton of points on this Nebraska defense. I do not see them going out there and scoring 30 plus points. I just don't see them doing that. This line is 25.5, which suggests they are going to do that. I don't see them doing that. And if Dylan Raiola, who we know is talented, who has made plays, who can make plays, can protect the football enough to let this Nebraska defense just kind of hang around, I think they're going to have a chance to win it at the end of the game.
This is a big game for Dylan Raiola to kind of maybe mature a little bit. And Matt Rule's got to, sit him down and be like, hey, dude, you're not going to win this game. We're going to have to win this game similar to how Navy is, where they're going to have to muck it up. Ohio State's defense is good. I don't care what happened against that Oregon team. This Ohio State defense is still good. And if Dylan Raiola puts the ball in harm's way, it's going to be a very, very, very long afternoon because Ohio State's offense, I think I'm higher on it than you are. I'm not sold on Will Howard. He played a good game against Oregon, but everybody remembers the boneheaded slide to run out the clock. What sells me on Ohio State's offense is they've got 50,000 first-round wide receivers just waiting in the wings. They've got them all in the starting lineups. They've got them all on the second strings. That's just who they are. They're wide receiver U right there with LSU. But Will Howard just has to get the ball to him. And I think, if you're really banking on Nebraska athletes to come up big against Ohio State's athletes, I mean, that's a tough sell for me.
That's not what you're betting on, though. You're betting on Will Howard to suck, and Will Howard.
Yeah, I think if you're betting on that, I don't hate it, but I think Will Howard just does enough to, 25 points. That's a lot, and it tells me. It tells me that Ohio, they think Ohio State's going to absolutely.
Well, the public is all over Ohio State. Listen, I get it. Ohio State's going to get all this public action. They're everybody's godson. I don't see it with their offense. And 25.5 points is way too much. And I think Nebraska
has a weird line.
I think Nebraska has a good enough team to if they don't turn the ball over, to make this an ugly type game where they're in it in the fourth quarter. That's the thing. If they can just run the football and just limit Dylan Raiola's mistakes, just make things very easy for him. I mean, you're right. Ohio State's defense, I believe, is right there with Georgia's and the best in the country.
Yeah,
I don't expect Nebraska to go out there and put up 24 points.
If you think this is how the game is going to go, you should bet the under.
If you can make this 17-16, I think there's a game, a world where this game, neither team is above 20 points. I really think there's a world where this happens.
I could see 56-7.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ohio State does this. There's always a game.
Yeah.
They haven't done it yet, really, where they flex their muscles on a bad opponent,
an inferior.
Definitely an inferior opponent. I just think Nebraska is a better team than we saw against Indiana, and I think having this game after that Indiana game was a terrible spot for them. It was just terrible. I mean, they're a team that looked good against Illinois, probably should have won this game. They beat Colorado handily earlier in the year. They do have a good defense. Dylan Raiola's got to protect the ball, and I think they'll have a chance.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Indiana. I don't think Nebraska is as bad as they were against Indiana, but in that same breath, I don't think Indiana is as good as, they were against Nebraska. And I'm going to go with Washington. Had Washington, our gambling lock show on the YouTube, Sports Talk ATL. Larson, our resident nerd, called out Washington to upset USC. He's doing it again with Washington, and I love it. I'm not sold on Indiana. You're gonna have College Game Day there. There's gonna be a lot of hype surrounding it. Washington is pretty much counted out. It's like a touchdown underdog right now. I think you can count on the Huskies outright. I just like Washington. They're sneaky good. They're forgotten about with Kalen DeBoer just leaving them in the dust for this Alabama team. Nobody's thinking about Washington.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad one. You wonder how Indiana will, if they take their foot off the pedal, or do they just keep the momentum going? Because they're still at home. It's game day there.
When's the last time?
I mean, this is the last time this is the first time they've sold out home games. The last two home games against Nebraska and Washington. It's been a long time since they've sold out home games. So, if this was on the road at Washington, I'm very interested. Is there a letdown opportunity being at home with game day? I feel like. And I believe
you gotta come through.
The quarterback situation, though, is injured. I don't think their starting quarterback is going to start. So that's obviously a big thing. Last one I want to say, because I think you like this one as well. Mississippi State against Arkansas. Yes. Mississippi State's been playing a ton. They got blown out by Toledo, but they're playing a ton better football. Kind of a difficult situation for them when you think about it, but they are playing at home. They played A&M, Georgia, some really tough opponents. But they put up fights against those teams. And Arkansas is in a very, very tough situation. They have Texas looming. They have some big games looming after this. And they just played LSU in which was a very emotional game. Their homecoming, thinking they were going to – and they got – their butts beat. They got a definitely reality check on who they are as a team. How do they respond in sleepy Mississippi State, which is going to be a great environment. Just because they suck does not mean those Cowboys won't be ringing and annoying.
They're trending in the right direction under Jeff Lebby. And he was hired because his offense is great. And guess what? They're starting to put up points with virtually no talent whatsoever. Arkansas is the better team on paper, through in and throughout every single position. But sometimes that doesn't matter in games like these where Arkansas isn't, some great team. Mississippi State, Jeff Libby sent out a mass email to the students getting them hyped up. I mean, Mississippi State's season is gone. I mean, there's nothing to really fight for, and they are still fighting. Like, they're trying to build momentum for the future.
It's new coach momentum,
and which is dangerous. And it's dangerous. I am all over Mississippi State. They're starting to score points. Arkansas's defense, I don't think is as good as, maybe it was once thought of. Like, I think, the Tennessee game, like Tennessee's offense just sucks. I think Arkansas's defense is kind of a fugazi, and Taylor Green is not as good as I thought he was going into that LSU game. So I think Mississippi State, the livest of live dogs.
Well, I also think Taylor Green injuries, he's definitely not 100%.
100%.
And listen, here's the thing. Here's the biggest reason why you have to like Mississippi State, in my opinion. It's not really that I don't think Arkansas's defense is that good. I think it's decent. I've always thought it was good, not great. I mean, if you thought it was great,
good, good,
Tennessee,
not great. That's fair.
But Mississippi State has played Georgia and Texas A&M, two far better defenses, and had no problem putting up 24 points against A&M and close to 30.
Yeah.
Like they've averaged like 30 points in those two games, and Arkansas is not at that level defensively. What has Arkansas struggled with though? Scoring points.
Yeah.
Like ever since Oklahoma State came to town, this is a team that hasn't been able to score points. Couldn't score against LSU, couldn't score against Tennessee, couldn't score. Like they haven't been able to score consistently. And if Tennessee can go out there and put 28, 30 points up there, you got to like their chances to win outright.
Yeah, I love Mississippi State. I like Jeff Levitt coming into the year, and he came out and fallen flat on his face. He's rebounding really well.
He walked in probably the hardest situation. Absolutely no talent on
whatsoever.
That roster. But yeah, I think they're turning things around. We'll get into national title contenders for Week 9 coming up after the break.